Good morning, guys. Welcome to our Animal Science Pre-Vet and Equestrian Visit Day. I really apologize that we had to move this to a virtual day. We were really bummed. We want to be able to host all of you guys on campus. We really encourage you to sign up for a personalized visit. We want you to be able to come and see our campus and our barns. So please go online to our visit page on the admissions page and sign up for a personal visit. We'd really like to have you. We're just gonna wait a few minutes here just to make sure that everybody can get logged in. We want to make sure that we give everyone enough time. So my name is Brandon Morin. I am one of the admissions counselors for the animal science program. Today, we are going to let you hear from Dr. Forshee, our director of the pre-vet program, as well as some student panelists. So if you guys have questions for throughout the presentation, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your screen. Don't use the chat. Make sure you're using that Q&A because we'll be able to answer your questions. We will have some live Q&A at the end, but let's use the chat feature for this. I want you all to tell me where you're logging in from. Where are you guys from? Who's the furthest away? Portage, Michigan, Springboro, Ohio, Rhode Island, Illinois. Very cool. New Jersey, Texas, Houston, Texas. Great. Wow, so we have a good, that's awesome. We have a good spread of people from all over the country here today. So thank you for joining us. And like I said, come schedule a visit on our live visit calendar. Come for a private visit. We'd be happy to show you around. We'd be happy to have a nice day with you guys. We all know what we're dealing with currently, and we really appreciate your flexibility and you joining us today. We're just gonna still wait just a couple minutes. Looks like we have about 47 people logged on, so I think we're getting there. So which animal science strand are you guys interested in? So we have our pre-vet strand, the science strand, and the industry strand. What do you want to do? Or, so we might have some equestrians on here too. So if you are interested in the equestrian program, you can put that. A lot of pre-vet, science, industry, English equestrian. Very good. Awesome. Very nice. Well, I think that we're almost ready to get started here with Dr. Forshee. So if you guys have any questions, drop it in the Q&A. We'll make sure that we get your questions answered.
Morning, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, I apologize that we weren't able to see you in person. I was looking forward to talking to all of you today, but we still, at least with the use of technology, get the opportunity to still chat with you guys. Introduce myself a little bit. My name is Dr. Brandon Forshee. I'm the director of the pre-vet program. It's just part of the animal science program, and so anything you guys have with regards to animal science, questions, concerns, we'll be able to get those answered hopefully for you today. Like Brandon had mentioned, I do recommend you coming and visiting us in person. I'll get the chance to talk to you one-on-one, which you can get to learn a little bit more about the University of Findlay, specifically within the animal science program. Within our program, we have 3 different areas of emphasis, but I do want to stress at the beginning, they are all animal science degrees. Right? One of the concerns that we get students coming in with animal science with a pre-vet emphasis is that they can only go to vet school. That's not the case, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of cover a little bit about that today. First one I want to discuss is our animal science industry option. Really geared for those students that are looking at getting that animal science degree, getting as much hands-on and practical experience as they can to go out and immediately enter into the workforce. Some of the jobs that our students are going to be doing there: farm manager positions, working with nutrition specialists, reproductive specialists, zoos and aquariums. We've had students working in all types of those areas. Within that, you will be taking just several chemistry and biology courses. One of the biggest things that you will be doing with us is we do require an internship within that area. That internship is required for graduation, and we will also help you find those specific internships when it comes to those. Moving on to our science option, really geared for those students that don't want to go to vet school, but also want to maybe further their career in education, whether that's going to a master's, a PhD. You will take at least 4 semesters of chemistry, and depending on your area of field, we may ask you require to take a 5th one, looking at the biochem department, biochemistry class, and getting that minor in chemistry. We would also recommend taking some general biology courses, but some of the required classes included into that as well are some of our advanced science courses, animal science courses specifically, advanced equine reproduction, advanced animal reproduction, and our advanced animal and equine nutrition courses. Part of those are required for the degree, and so that's kind of what the area that we're focusing on when it comes to that area. And then the last one is our animal science pre-vet emphasis. Again, stressing and can't stress enough, it is still an animal science degree, but we are also prepping you for application into veterinary school. Some of the courses that you'll be required to take: general biologies, animal anatomy, animal physiology, microbiology. You will receive a minor in chemistry and receive enough credits to get a minor in biology. And so we really try to emphasize that enough, that it is still an animal science degree, but prepping you to meet those requirements for veterinary school. Right? I will stress that you guys continue to look at other programs. However, some of the things I want you to cover when you are talking to those other programs: your guys' career, and we can agree with this, whether you're looking at industry, science, or pre-vet, is to work with animals. And so when you talk to these other institutions, when do you get to work with animals? What species do you get to work with, and what do you get to do with them? Right? It's a challenge looking at an undergraduate program when your end goal is to work with animals and you don't get that opportunity to. Or you get that opportunity to in your junior year. What happens when you start working with those animals in that type of way and you decide this is not a career path for me anymore, right? You're 2 years into an undergraduate program that you may not appreciate. And I think that's a big concern for you as students, because there's probably extra semesters, as well as the parents that are going to be involved with that, because there's usually money associated with that as well. Right? Here at the University of Findlay, all of our animal science students will start working with animals the second week of class their freshman year. They work with cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, llamas, and alpacas, and horses. And it really doesn't matter what experience you come in with. We've had some students that have worked with every one of those species, others that have only seen them either at county fairs, state fairs, or on TV, as well as anybody else in between. And so we really start at the very basic level. How do you approach these animals? How do you work with them? How do you halter them? But a lot of you aren't looking at just to walk an animal around. You want to do more than that, right? As part of your freshman handling class, you will give injections, you will draw blood, clip needle teeth, ear notch, implant, tattoo, castrate, dehorn, and tail dock. And that is all your freshman year, depending on which classes you're going to be taking first, our equine handling or our food animal handling. And it is up to you on which one you decide to take first. And so we give you that opportunity to work with those animals in that type of way. You're working in the animal science industry, you're going to have to give injections. You will probably have to draw blood. You may have to do some of those other procedures we mentioned. Is that something you can do? Those of you looking specifically at the pre-vet side, can you give an injection? Can you draw blood? If I put a surgical blade in your hand, are you able to use that surgical blade on an animal? If you've never had that opportunity, how do you know? And here at the University of Findlay, we will give you that opportunity your freshman year. And if you decide, I love what I do, great, let's continue to pursue that animal science degree. If you decide animal science is not for me, great. We have now decided your freshman year that this career path is not for you. Sit down and talk with one of our faculty members. We'll be able to help you figure out which area do you want to focus on. Do you still want to stay maybe animal science, but maybe vet school is not your option? Or are you looking into an entirely different major? Nice thing about Findlay, we are small enough that if you are looking for a different area of emphasis, whether that's in biology or accounting, we had one student who went to psychology. A quick phone call or an email from us, and we'll have you in contact with somebody in that department, which I think is great, right? It's really beneficial for you guys to help you if you decide your career path is not going within animal science, right? And I think that's really important. You'll continue to work with animals all 4 years. Second year, you're looking more of the husbandry and managerial side of working with animals. As part of some of the classes, you will be coming out here and feeding the animals and working with them, giving treatments, moving them, anything that involves that. Third and fourth year is when we get really big into different diversity of classes that we have. If you're looking at going into nutrition, I mentioned our nutrition courses, our advanced ones, reproduction. We have some of our advanced lecture-based courses, but we also have some advanced techniques courses. where you will be palpating those animals. You will be breeding those animals. You will be giving injections, getting a little bit more hands-on there. For those that are looking at the pre-vet side, some of the courses I would strongly recommend: small animal, large animal medicine. We have an equine medicine course. We have an animal ultrasound course where we teach you how to use ultrasounds on animals, right? Which is very unique and very, very beneficial if your end result goal is to go to vet school, right? We have a number of production courses that vary with swine, sheep, horse, beef, and dairy production to give you those experiences in those different areas of animal science. We also have a number of equestrian courses, equine exercise physiology, right? And some of those other advanced courses that I had mentioned earlier to give you that aspect to make you the best candidate for a job, graduate school, or professional school, right? And giving you those opportunities. And again, that's going to be your junior, senior year, depending on where you're going to be at and how many credits you've been taking, which area of emphasis you're going to be working with. Those looking at specifically veterinary school, we need to talk to these other schools about acceptance rate, right? The average acceptance rate into veterinary school on a per school basis averages right around 10%, right? And so I think that's an important number you need to ask. You also need to ask how many apply. For example, I could tell you our acceptance rate is 100%. And what if I said we only have 6 students that apply, right? And I think those are some important numbers to ask these other institutions. And so let's backtrack, answer some of those questions for Findlay. Our acceptance rate into veterinary school is 75% on a first-time basis, and that's our 10-year average. If you were to incorporate our past 3 years, we are at 85%, which we are very, very happy with. We've had the opportunity to get students into every vet school in the country. There are currently 32 of them right now. The 2 newest ones are Long Island University, University of Arizona. They just started this year, and we have students in each of those programs in their inaugural class. Next year, Texas Tech is looking at starting a veterinary school. All right. They only accept Texas residents. However, I have 2 Texas residents right now that are juniors that are looking at applying into their program for next year. So hopefully by this time next year, I'll be able to say 33. However, some of you may not be wanting to stay within the US. Fantastic. There are 2 international schools in Canada that accept international students. There are 2 in the Caribbean that are accredited institutions. We can even travel over the Atlantic Ocean. 7 over in Europe that our students have either been attended or accepted to. We can even go the other direction, Australia and New Zealand. Most recently, we had 2 students accepted to the University of Sydney. We've designed our curriculum so you can apply to any accredited veterinary school that you want. And I want you to keep that options open. You may not want to stay in your state, right? And get in those other ones. Those of you from Ohio, Ohio State should be #1 on your list for vet school, right? For vet school. But I don't want you to apply just to Ohio State. I want you to have some options, and we will get you ready for those, right? Which I think is really important to have to be working with those. The number of students that we have applying to veterinary school is right around 60 students per year. So if you're doing the math in your head, 45 to 50 of them are getting into their programs their first time applying. Right? About half of those students are getting into multiple schools. And that's the choice that I want you guys to have, is being able to get into those multiple schools, right? And deciding which vet school do I want to go to. Again, where we have the opportunity that we can prepare you for any of those schools. And I think that's really important to have that, right? I think advising is also extremely important, regardless of which area of emphasis you're looking at within the animal science program, right? At every institution that you look at, you'll get assigned an advisor. What's unique about Findlay is that you'll get assigned an advisor. There's somebody in the animal science department, and we teach all of your classes, right? There's only about 6.5 of us. We have a part-time veterinarian that works with us. And so we get to learn your guys' names, which is fantastic. You have to meet with us to register for classes, which I think is also very, very beneficial. It allows us to get to know you as a student. What is your career path? What are you bringing in, right? Does your career path change? It gives you the opportunity to have somebody that you can go into and ask, I'm not sure if this career path is what I want. What are my other options? Or what class is going to benefit me more for this specific area that I want to go into? What about internships? Right? What are these different types of internships that I can do? You can sit down with us and you can schedule appointments and being able to talk about those different questions. Again, I think really important for you guys to have that opportunity to get those questions answered. Right? You might be a challenge if you're looking at some other institutions that maybe they say they have a pre-vet program, but it's a biology degree, or some of those larger land grant institutions where you'll never meet your advisor. And so how do you go to somebody that you can ask those questions, right? Whether it's one about animal science or specifically about veterinary medicine, we have the faculty here that can really help you with that. Right? I think another thing that I want you guys to look at is class size. Right? Here, your largest class will be around 50 to 55 students. It will be your lecture-based animal science courses because we only offer them once a year. However, when we break down into the labs for all of those courses, your freshman handling classes, right? The labs for those upper level production courses, we try to keep it right around 15 students per class, which is fantastic. You're really going to get that one-on-one that you need to make sure that you're doing the procedures to the best of your ability, right? And I think that's very important to do that. We also have plenty of animals to go around as well, right? As you can see behind me, we are being able to kind of do this from the barn, which is great, right? During our busiest time of the year, which is usually right around February, we'll be pushing right around 11 to 1,200 animals in our facility, right? Which is fantastic because it gives plenty of work for you guys that you're able to come out here and work with those animals, get that hands-on experience, right? Whether you have experience from some animals that you've worked with on your farm, or you're coming in and you've never touched one of these. Fantastic. That's great. We will get you that experience. And I think that's really important, right? So working with those animals, when do you get to work with them? This class size, I think, is important as well, right? So please continue to look at schools, but I would strongly recommend that you do come and visit us on a individual basis. Sit down, chat with us a little bit, so that we can get you a little bit more detail in specifically our 3 different types of programs, right? So what I'd like to do is open it up for questions. Brandon, who's behind me, he's going to be reading those questions, and hopefully I'll get those answered for you. We're going to do a couple minutes of that, and then we'll break off from there.
Okay, so the first question we have is, are any core curriculum courses required besides the one listed in the catalog?
Are any core curriculum courses required besides the ones listed in the catalog? No. When you look at our catalog, we have the animal science degree with the different area of emphasis. Looking specifically at the pre-vet side, you'll see there is another group down at the bottom that has recommended / required courses for vet school. We will be adding those in, all right? That being said, it seems like a ton of courses that you have the opportunity to take, and you do. Our students will graduate within 4 years or less, right, with taking that curriculum. So that's one of the other concerns that we get is, I have all these courses I need to take. Can I fit it in 4 years? Yes, you can, right? We have designed it so that way you can do that. But yes, anything in the catalog, what you need, as well as those required courses for vet school.
Okay, so we have another question. What does the hands-on experience look like in the face-to-face of our global pandemic?
Perfect.
Is it likely things are going to
Yes.
change?
So right now we are face-to-face with our hands-on, right? So we are in class. Again, one thing that we've stressed to our students is those importance of washing hands, wearing a face mask, social distancing, all that stuff. And we've been very, very successful with our hands-on. I teach a number of these food animal handling classes. I cannot teach you how to hand an animal online. It just doesn't work that way, right? I can say you have to put your hand here, you have to move this way, but that doesn't mean anything, right? I need you to be out in the barn working with me with the animals. And so that's what we've tried to do, right? And then we've been successful of doing it. We've done it this semester. We plan on doing it next semester as well, as having those things. And that's where, again, another benefit of those small classes, we're able to have those classes in person, which makes it that much better. And again, it is tough to teach you guys how to work with the animals over the internet. I can't do it. And so I need to be on campus. And so we've been able to do that. And again, everybody's doing what they're supposed to, which has been very, very helpful for us.
Okay, so you mentioned that the pre-vet track includes enough credits for chemistry and biology minor. How hard would it be to turn one of those into a second major or a double major?
Great question. So looking at double majors, right? The chemistry would be a challenge. It would be hard. I don't think we'd be able to do that, right? However, the biology, it's another 13 credit hours to double major in the biology program, right? That being said, if you do not bring in any college or AP credits, it will be very, very difficult for you to do that, right? Because our students average right around 17 credit hours a semester. Full-time is 12, you can go up to 18, right? And so it does make it challenging to do so. However, If you are able to bring in some AP courses, some college courses, and those courses, or excuse me, and those credits are counting as graduation requirements, it is definitely feasible to incorporate that into a biology major as well. So absolutely.
What kind of internships are available?
Great. I would, hopefully you'd come and meet in person. I would ask, what interests do you have? To give you some examples, some of our students have worked with our Ohio Department of Agriculture on their necropsy floor. We've had students go to the National Aquarium in Baltimore, Maryland, do an internship. A program called CROW in Sanibel Island, Florida, which deals with wildlife rehabilitation. We've had students go to a large cat sanctuary called CARE in Texas that works with large cats and other exotic species. And we've had students that have traveled internationally. Thailand to work with elephants, South Africa to work with cheetahs, right? Really any type of those that you're looking at, we'll be able to get that for you. If you want to stay within the US a little bit more, well, we also have students that will go and do internships with any type of breeding organization. So some common ones, Select Sires, ABS, right? Trans Ova, some of those reproductive specifically. We have a number of students that have done internships with nutrition companies, some that are locally here, Kallenbach, Cooper Farms are some of our local ones that our students have done internships with. So it's really wherever you have an interest, we'll be able to find an internship for you. Or a number of our students will also find ones on their own and say, hey, can I sit and talk with you about this internship? Absolutely. Let us know the times you have available and we can sit down and talk about it.
All right. Is there a specific animal that we work with the most during our 4 years?
There is not one that you work with the most during your 4 years. It's really wherever you have an interest in, right? You guys are coming in with an animal science degree. So I would tell you, get as much variety as you can when it comes to those species, right? The more variety you have, the better off you're going to be when you leave Findlay, because you'll have a better range of knowledge to make yourself more marketable, whether that's going out and getting a job, going to graduate school or potentially professional school, right? So there's really not one species. If you do have an area of interest, absolutely. Let's see if we can kind of incorporate kind of your schedule once you get to your junior, senior year in those specific species, right? Because again, I don't want to take away from your interest, but I also want you to have the most knowledge that you can leaving here at Findlay.
Are there any opportunities for hands-on experience with small animals?
Great question. So I'm guessing this is somebody that's directed towards looking at veterinary medicine. We try to focus on large animal mostly here. The reason is it's hard for you guys to get large animal experience in a veterinary profession, right? You look at any town, they're going to have a small animal clinic. They may not have that large animal side, right? So really a lot of the small animal is going to be coming from you guys, getting in the clinics while you're at home, getting that shadowing experience, right? Working with the veterinarians that way. Now, some of the opportunities we do have for you for here, I did mention our small animal medicine course, which is lecture-based. Our intro to animal ultrasonography does have small and large animal, as well as I have a great relationship with veterinary clinics in Findlay and the surrounding counties, where some of our students will go and do some shadowing during the semester once they hit their junior and senior year. So we do have some, we just try to focus on the large animal side, right? Now, I will tell you, you need variety, okay? Vet schools do not want to see somebody that has only small animal experience, right? If your goal is to do small animal, great. You can decide that when you get to vet school. During your high school and undergrad, you need a variety that will make you a better candidate for veterinary school than just sticking with one small area.
After graduating, is it necessary to go to vet school? What if you are content with what you are doing after graduation in terms of a bachelor's degree?
Perfect. You don't have to go to vet school. Only go to vet school if you want to, right? We earlier in this talk, we talked about how hard it is to get into veterinary school. So if you do not want to go to vet school, please do not go, all right? You will not enjoy it, okay? So if you enjoy what you're doing, and that's where I think internships play a role. Do those internships and explore different areas. And if you find an area that you like where you don't have to go to vet school, great, focus on that, right? Now let's take that one step further. Let's say you leave Findlay, you go out and start working that job. 2 years later, you decide, I'm not sure if this is what I thought it was going to be. I still want to go to vet school. You still can, right? You can still go to vet school. You do not have to go right after undergrad, right? Also, we will still be here, right? You're a graduate from Findlay. Let us know. We are more than happy to help you get those different requirements if you do need them past that, right? but you do not have to go to vet school if you do not want to. So don't look at it that way, please.
Are there opportunities to work with reptiles?
Reptiles. Here at Findlay, no, there is not. And you'd probably be very limited when it comes to looking at other schools of being able to work with reptiles, right? However, that's where your internships during the summers can really help, right? If your goal is to specialize in reptiles once you get to vet school, you can do that then, right? They'll give you those opportunities to work with those reptiles there. We can help you working at zoos or aquariums. Absolutely. We'll be able to help you out there to start you getting on that track to see, is that a career path that I want to do?
If you come in with enough credits, is it possible to double major with 2 of the animal science strands?
No. So because they're so related, you will only receive an animal science degree. And so then your area of emphasis is going to be industry, science, or pre-vet. But again, you could also add in another major. We talked about biology. A number of our students will add in different minors, right? A business minor is going to be beneficial for you. Some of our students know where they want to work at is going to be an area that is heavy in a second language. So they'll focus on that second language if they can, right? Trying to make themselves as best as they can be when they leave Findlay, right? And so that's usually where they're going to be adding in those courses.
Is there a limit to how many internships you can have? Are internships mainly done during the summer or during school?
Great question. They can be both. I would say the majority of our students are doing internships during the summer. And I would say do not put a limit on it. The more internships you have, the more experience you're going to have, right? Keep in mind, there's only so many hours in the day, right? Or so many days within the entire summer. So keep that in the back of your head. But the more experience you have, the better off you will be, regardless of which area of animal science that you're looking at. And especially if you're the animal science industry or science option, it's amazing how many of those internships will actually lead to job offers down the road.
Are there GPA and test score requirements to be admitted into the animal science program?
Yes. So the GPA requirements are 3.2 or higher high school GPA. I do not know what we're doing with the ACT or SAT scores just because of everything that's going on. A number of our students haven't had the opportunity to take them. All right. And so that would be a question that we'd want to relate more to admissions. Again, if we're if we're a school of interest, please shoot us an email. Let us know about that. We'll be able to help you out there.
Just to touch on that, if you guys are applying with and you do not have a test, you guys may submit a letter of recommendation, a short essay, and we will schedule a Zoom interview for your no test option. Just make sure to reach out to your admissions counselor. All right, the next question, are you able to double major in another major that isn't animal related, like animal science and physical therapy?
No. And it's because of the amount of classes you'll have to take for each major, right? It really wouldn't matter. It would be hard to double major. If you bring in a ton of credits, we can maybe look at it, all right? One of the classes that you guys will take your freshman year is a first year experience. As part of that course, we will develop your guys' 4-year plan. And again, I put 4 years in quotation marks. Maybe you're only looking at 3.5 years or 3 years or 4 years, right? And we will develop those plans to see, can we fit in all the classes with your minor that you're wanting to add, or can we fit all the classes with the major, right? When you're looking at 2 different programs like that, your overlap is only going to be the general education requirements, and that's probably it. Maybe some of the upper level biology courses, but there's going to be so many other of the lower levels that you'll have to take for both major. I think it would be very difficult to do a major outside of one that's related to animals, right? Biology is going to be the one that would be the easiest for you to do that.
How about minors in other areas? Is that more doable?
Yes, absolutely. Again, with specifically talking about the pre-vet side, they will already receive a chemistry and a biology minor. But when looking at our industry side, there are a couple courses that overlap in the business side. So a number of our students will do 1 or 2 business minors if they have the time to do that. Again, that's where sitting down and working out those plans can most certainly help. I have one student that I'm working with right now that's doing a psychology minor. She came in with some credits and she tested into a psychology class. So she's working on that and doing a psych minor.
Is it possible to do the pre-vet major and do the associate's degree in English Equestrian Studies?
Yes, so let's talk about double major within that. When you look at the animal science degree, specifically pre-vet, it is one of the most challenging programs academically on our campus. When you look at our equestrian programs, we're looking at just doing the amount of time that you'll be spending out on the barns, over 3 to 4 hours per day, every day of the week. And so trying to combine those is difficult, right? And again, talking specifically about the pre-vet. However, one option is doing the associate's degree. Whether you do the associate's degree in the first 2 years, or you do the first half your first year and the last half your fourth year with us. Those are going to be kind of the two easiest ways to do it. When looking at our other areas, science and industry, it's a lot more feasible because we're not also trying to include those requirements for veterinary school. Again, regardless of which one you're wanting to kind of pair it with, coming in with some AP college credits will most certainly help with that.
Can the pre-vet track also complete all graduation requirements in 3 years?
That would depend on how many credits they bring in, right? So if they're bringing in credits, absolutely. Now, one option that we do have at our university is called a 3-in-1 program. Every year, we will have a couple students that will push their sciences a little bit earlier so they can apply to vet school and get in after their junior year. Traditional pre-vet student will apply after their junior year, hear back from the veterinary schools during their senior year, graduate, and then start then. We have a couple students every year that decide to apply after their sophomore year. Hear back from the veterinary schools their junior year. If they're fortunate enough to get accepted, excellent, right? All we require them to do is complete at least 102 credit hours at the University of Findlay, whether that's included, and that does include transfer credit. And if they send us their transcripts from their first year of veterinary school, we will waive the remaining requirements for their degree, and they'll still be able to walk and graduate from Findlay after they've completed their first year of vet school.
Can students be engaged in extracurriculars and athletics and still be successful in animal science?
Absolutely, you can. You have to keep in mind, being a student athlete is difficult, right? And there's a key, it's a student athlete, right? You are a student first and then an athlete, right? But yes, absolutely. And I would tell you guys, try to get involved outside of classes because you'll get bored and you'll get burnt out really quick if you're just focusing on schoolwork, right? You also want to have something else to do. Make yourself more well-rounded. One of those are student athletes. We have a number of student athletes that complete our program successfully and get in, right? They do very well.
How does the typical schedule look like for a freshman in the animal science major? For instance, how long are classes? How long are you at the barn?
Excellent, great. So looking at the first year, luckily, regardless of which area of emphasis you're looking at, the first semester and sometimes the first year are about the same, right? Typical freshman year, we're gonna be right around 16 to 17 credit hours per semester. The courses you'll have will be an animal handling course, whether it's equine or food animal, a first year experience, usually an English class, a math course, a chemistry course, and sometimes another gen ed. But it's up to you on how many we're able to fit there. And then it will kind of repeat the next one, right? We will also have an intro to animal science course put in there, depending on where you're able to register at and what day you're able to register, right? And it's just gonna be the same thing for those first 2 semesters, and that's gonna be it, right? So it's not too bad, right? It really shows you, okay, I need to develop some time management skills. As we continue, we're looking at the science and the pre-vet option now. You're going to be adding 2 sciences your second year, right? If you're really trying to move through them quickly and you feel comfortable within the pre-vet, we might add 3 sciences per year. And so it does become a challenge once we get up to there. But again, if the goal is vet school, you need to show the vet schools that you are capable of completing that many sciences within that program. So give them an example so that they can see, oh, this student does really well in those science programs. I think they're going to do well in our program at veterinary school as well.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Forshee, for answering those questions. We will continue to answer the questions that were not answered live. We will answer that through the chat or through the Q&A. So now we're going to transition over to our student panel and get some perspectives from our students. So if you guys could come on live with us and all right. So we have Maddie here, we have Ryan here, we have Samantha here. All 3 of these ladies are in the animal science program. So let's start with Maddie. And if you could just tell us what your major is, what your year is, what what your anticipated career path is, and just tell us about your experience at Findlay.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a junior pre-vet major, and hopefully I'll get into vet school, and I'm gonna try to be a equine vet. Findlay's been really cool, and I have lots and lots of leadership experience here. I have several jobs, and I'm in several groups on campus.
Very good. All right, Ryan, let's hear from you. What's your year? Where you're from? What's your major?
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a freshman and I'm double majoring in the pre-vet and the Western Equestrian. I'm from Pennsylvania, about 8 hours from Findlay, and hopefully I'll be an equine vet.
Wonderful. All right, Samantha, your turn.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm from Mars, Pennsylvania, which is about 4 hours from Findlay. And I'm a senior animal science pre-veterinary major who just applied to vet school, so fingers crossed. And my goal is to be a large animal food animal veterinarian.
Awesome.
And I guess my time at Findlay has been really rewarding. I've been able to get involved in a lot of leadership opportunities and hold several jobs on campus. There's a lot of opportunities here.
Awesome. So I will start off some questions. So you guys in the Q&A, if you have any questions for our students, you can start dropping those and I will ask those questions to our students. But I'll start with the first question here. What kind of clubs or organizations are you a part of? So Maddie, we'll start with you.
I am in campus ministries. I am a Bible study leader. I'm also in pre-vet club and mortar board, which is an honor society where we do lots of volunteer work.
Wonderful. All right, Ryan.
I'm in the pre-vet club, the Block and Bridle Club, and Habitat for Humanity.
And
All right, Samantha.
I am in Mortarboard, Delta Tau Alpha, which is an agriculture honor society, as well as Tri Beta, which is a biological honor society. I'm also in Block and Bridle, which is the general animal science club on campus. Also pre-vet club, and I am a student handler for University 4 Paws for Ability. So I train a service dog in training, and I'm also the secretary and treasurer of OC3.
Wonderful. All right. So how is it to live on campus? What's your favorite part of living on campus? Even if you don't currently live on campus, what was your favorite part? All right, Maddie.
My favorite part was that I got to know so many people like super quick. Like first week of school, I had like 20 friends, which was cool. Also, there's lots of coffee shops and I'm a coffee fanatic, so that helped too, especially with studying.
All right, Ryan.
I just like being close to all my classes. Like I can walk pretty much anywhere in under 10 minutes, which is really nice. So I just like being close to everything. And like Maddie said, you meet so many people just living on campus, which is awesome.
And Samantha.
I can echo Maddie. I loved the location to coffee shops, but I also really liked the accessibility to class and being able to find a nice study spot and being able to walk there from my room. And if I forgot something, it takes me 2 seconds to run back to my room and to go back to my studying session. So everything is really close in approximation.
All right, another question that we have here is the workload for pre-vet too heavy in terms that you don't have enough time for a social life? Maddie.
I know I can say that although it is a lot, it's taught me time management. So currently I have 2 jobs on campus, and it's totally manageable within those 2 jobs. It's just time management. Like you just have to figure out what works for you, what clubs you can be in, and all that. So you can have a life. I assure you.
Ryan, anything to add to that?
No, I pretty much agree with what she said. It's definitely doable. You can do it all. You just have to kind of know yourself and know where you have to spend your time and what's going to be best for you.
All right, and Samantha.
I think the one thing that I would add is that something that was helpful for me is I tried out a lot of things in the beginning and I figured out what I loved and wanted to get more involved in. And I slowly picked those things over some other things and got more involved in those clubs as opposed to so many clubs. And then being now a senior, your classes kind of start to slow down a little bit because your hardest semesters are going to be sophomore and junior year primarily anyway. So I'm now able to have a little bit more free time to be more involved.
Awesome. Samantha, this question is specifically for you. How did you get into the dog training service? What is that like?
So Four Paws for Ability is a nonprofit organization out of Dayton and Xenia, Ohio. And it just started on campus about 2 years ago. So we are a university program version of it, and we work in association with them. So I filled out a bunch of forms and I was trained at their facility, and now he's sleeping on the floor, but I have a doodle puppy named Jiggly who's 5 months old, who's been with me since August. And I will train him, and I attend a monthly training session at Four Paws.
Awesome. So how do you guys get to the farm? Do you guys have your own cars or do you take a shuttle?
Freshman year for me, I took the shuttle until I found friends, and it was just more convenient to go with friends. Now I drive, and it's nice that Findlay has free parking passes, so anyone can drive if you want to, but the shuttle is also a really nice option.
Ryan?
I drive to the barn, and like Maddie said, parking's free on campus, which is really nice.
And Sam?
I do have my car here on campus, and I've always had my car. But you don't have to have your car at Findlay. Like everybody said, that you can find rides or you can use the shuttle. I think it's a great opportunity to meet friends. With me being a person that had a car, I actually made a lot of friends driving people to the barns and having conversations about the 10-15 minute drive it takes to get there.
So how did you guys figure out your living arrangements? How did you find out what dorms you were in?
Freshman year for me, I was put in I think all freshmen get put in a Facebook group, and somebody messaged me and they're like, "Hey, you're cool. Want to be my roommate?" And I was like, "Sure." And it worked out great like that. And then from there, I found friends and wanted to be roommates with them. So it was super easy, not stressful.
Awesome. Ryan?
My experience was basically the same as Maddie. I was in that Facebook group and someone messaged me, and that's how I found my roommate.
Very cool. And Samantha?
I'm the same as them. I found my roommate on Facebook. Starting your sophomore and junior year as well as senior, you can start to looking into living on group housing, which are campus providing houses. And those are based off of your credit standing and when they open them and how you can sign up. So that's opens in like February or January. So that's where things start to get a little different, but the start is definitely in Facebook.
Very good. Yeah, so our housing portal, so when you guys pay your deposits, your enrollment deposits, that's going to enable us to be able to send you the housing portal, in that early springtime. And we actually do have a roommate search feature through the housing portal. So, you can set up a profile and search for people within your program and certain aspects like that. So you will get that after you pay your enrollment deposit. So the pre-vet program requires several science classes. What were some study tactics you guys used to understand and learn the material?
For me, Quizlet's my best friend. I'm really bad at memorizing terms, so just doing it over and over again. Aside from that, I've found lots of study groups, gone to my professor's office and said, I don't understand the material, and they've always reiterated it to me, as well as the tutoring center, which is free.
I can't really speak to some of the harder science courses, but for my sciences right now, like Maddie said, Quizlet's awesome, and just working problems out of the textbook has been really helpful.
I would also say that Quizlet is extremely helpful. I'm sensing a trend, but I've also found that it's really helpful to have a large whiteboard and several markers of various colors and just write everything out. And it's also helpful to find that study group, and that comes with just getting more comfortable at Findlay and finding those people that are in your classes to help sit down and study with.
So how do you like the weather in Findlay? Is it cold and snowy?
So coming from Cleveland, Ohio, it's really not any different. So I'm fine with it. I like the cold weather, but that's not a trend that most people have. But I like it. It's fine.
Yeah, the weather here is kind of similar to the weather at my house. It is colder, gets a little colder earlier, but it's not too bad.
I would also say the weather is similar to where it is for me back home. The only thing is because it's like a lot flatter on campus, I think it's constantly windy. And I disagree with Maddie. I don't love the winter, but it's definitely manageable.
All right, so the pre-vet major seems pretty heavy in the female department. Are there guys in the pre-vet program?
There's quite a few, and I feel like as the years go on, there's more guys, but I have no idea. Like I haven't counted them out or anything, but yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What was the hardest class that you've taken so far?
For me, it would be organic chemistry and genetics, which is what I'm in right now. So
Sorry. Do you guys feel prepared for a career in the animal sciences if it's not vet school?
I am applying to vet school, but I think that Findlay does an excellent job giving you opportunities to seek out those hands-on experience. And I came in with very little experience with pigs, but I had experience with cattle. So I gained a lot of familiarity with working with pigs. So I think Findlay does a great job with club opportunities and class opportunities to be able to make you more comfortable and confident in the animal science world. And there's a lot of opportunities in research and looking into different fields as well. So I do feel that I'm pretty well prepared to go into the animal science world, as intimidating as it may be.
I do want to add to that. I know for me, I want to go to vet school, but my roommate's an industry major, and she came in with little animal experience. Now she's an AI technician for ABS, which she got all that experience through Findlay. So I really do think they set you up to be successful in the field.
Do you have prior experience with animals? Were any of you working with animals prior to coming to Findlay?
I had quite a bit of experience behind me. I was a wildlife technician for a summer where I worked with different wildlife as well as horses and small animal, but the food animal aspect was something that was new to me, which I'm super comfortable with now.
Yeah, my experience was similar to Maddie. I came from the horse world, so I rode horses for several years before coming to Findlay. So I had a lot of horse experience, but I didn't have very many food animal experience. But I'm in the food animal handling class, and I feel super comfortable with them now.
I grew up on a farm, so I've been working with cattle and goats and various animals for a long time. And I've also shadowed at a vet clinic for 4 years now. So I did come in with a lot of experience, but I've gained so much more at Findlay. And I do have a lot of friends that didn't come in growing up on a farm or having a lot of vet experience, and they've definitely been able to build up their application and gain more comfortable with animals.
All right. We're going to talk about food now. I'm getting hungry thinking about it. So what are the food options on campus? How is the food on campus? And what's the restaurant scene like in Findlay?
So there's Hendo, which is the dining hall. I feel like Ryan can talk about this more because I live off campus now, so I don't know how good the food is. But then there's also the place at the business building where it's like cafeteria style.
Yeah, so Hendo is our dining hall on campus. The food's pretty good. It gets a little repetitive, I will say, but it's not bad. I don't mind it. And then there's 2 coffee places on campus. They're called Jasmine's. One's like in a building right across from the dining hall, and the other one's in the business building, which Maddie mentioned. And then in the business building, there's what's called the Refinery. So that has a few different food options that you can use your bonus bucks there, which are part of your meal plan. And I go to eat lunch there a lot, and I really like it there.
And there's also an option as you get like higher up in standings, is you can kind of, I think it's called the ARC plan, where you can like back off of the number of meals you have per week, and you can get like simply to go, which is without sitting in the dining hall and just grabbing like a quick bite to eat. But also, as I mentioned with the group housing, there's also a full kitchen in all of those houses. So you can have the option to cook your own meals too.
Awesome. So does anybody have any other questions? If you guys need a couple seconds to think of one. Oh, there we go. Is there a music scene at Findlay? Are there opportunities for music?
Yes, I'm actually in the orchestra. So that's like once a week for me, and I get to play and then we have a concert. It's a nice way to relax and go back to my roots of playing an instrument. But I know there's also band and choir. And then you can also take classes where you learn how to play an instrument. Like I know a friend that learned how to play the drums and she had a recital for it and she was super excited. So yeah.
All right. How hard or easy is it to obtain internships at UF?
I think it depends on what you're interested in. Findlay's really helpful. They do have a career development office, as well as your academic advisor are really helpful in finding what you're interested in and helping finding those outlets for the internships. But for me, the most helpful thing was actually just seeking them out, because I chose to do a lot of my internships in vet clinics near me. So I had to put in a lot of the legwork trying to find the location that worked for me and finding the place that would be most applicable to my life. So, but if you want to travel or you want to do anything out of state, Findlay's really helpful in locating those. So I wouldn't say it's hard at all.
Are there any fun activities that the school provides that you guys have done?
I know my freshman year, last year, we didn't do it because we got sent home for COVID, but Block and Bridal had a dance. I think it's called, like, yeah, like a party thing. So that was really cool. Everyone just got to hang out, have fun. I think there was like golf there and then just food and dancing. So that was cool.
Yeah, Block and Bridal is semi-formal. We do it with CFFA is one of my favorite events. We do it at a virtual golf place. Block and Bridal also does Ag Olympics, which is just a day to have fun, and you like throw hay bales, which I'm terrible at, and practice lassoing. And so those events are a lot of fun. But there's also different research opportunities. Like I was able to present at the ASAS conference in Nebraska last March. So you really have to just look at what you want to get involved in, and it's there.
Also, there's like Wilderness Club, and I think that they go kayaking and go on hikes on the weekends when they can. So that's another cool opportunity. I know I don't have the most time to do it, so I'll just do that stuff on my own, but it's also open to any student.
All right. Ryan, this question's for you. How has it been being an incoming freshman this year?
It's good. Hearing like stories from other people, I know this year is definitely different than other years. Like I don't feel like we didn't have our homecoming weekend. And a lot of like campus events that might have happened in previous years have been online or canceled. So it's different in that way. But my classes, I still have at least some part face-to-face in all my classes. So that's nice. But I like it so far.
Another question for Ryan. How is your double major with equestrian studies and animal science?
It's good. It is a lot. So like I said earlier, you have to know yourself. And if you're interested in doing the double major, it's definitely helpful if you come in with some credits to get those gen eds out of the way. But I'm telling you right now, it's a lot. So be prepared to spend a lot of time at the barn and a lot of time studying. It's definitely doable, and you still can have a social life, but you just have to have good time management and understand what you're getting yourself into.
Wonderful. All right. What's the weirdest thing you guys have had to do in one of your animal classes?
I think there's a lot of things in animal science that you don't talk about every day that happen. So to most people, those would probably seem weird. I think, I mean, you do practice like palpating cows and beef class. So that's one of the things that you can't say every day. There's a cow, Libby, who is an educational animal at the barn, who has a cannula which is basically a hole in her rumen. So you can actually stick your hand into her stomach and pull out contents of her breakfast. So.
Cool. So do you guys have online class, or are you in person, or is it hybrid?
My professors are trying their hardest to do in person. I know for me, I learn better in person, but I do have a few online. I started off the year with hybrid, but as people dropped a class or there was bigger rooms, we got to be in person. So a majority are in person.
Great. Did any of you have college credit before coming into UF?
I came in with about 32 credits, which is a lot, but I did a lot of AP credits, and I also went to the community college during my senior year of high school. And with that, I'm able to graduate this December, which is a semester earlier than the typical program. And I could have graduated in 3 years. I just chose to stick around for some of the electives, which is the extra semester.
I also came in with about 30 credits, which is definitely helpful if you want to double major or add some minors in there.
And then I came in with 13 through AP or college credit, and I've accumulated a few more through the summer semesters as well.
Very good. What kind of shadowing experiences do you guys recommend before coming to Findlay?
Whatever you can get. I know for me, I didn't actually shadow a vet before coming to Findlay, and I've done that through my time here. But any animal experience I think would help.
All right. What type of classes are recommended that you take in high school to prepare for the program? I guess, let me reword this question. What kind of classes do you guys think would be beneficial in high school for the program?
I think if you're coming in as particularly the animal science or animal science pre-vet, but though this could also pertain to the industry major, would probably be taking those AP bios, taking those AP chemistries to give you a good foundation in your sciences. So even if you don't get credit that necessarily exempts you from those classes, it gives you an excellent foundation and a springboard to start from. I would also recommend taking anatomy if that's available at your school. And something that I noticed some of my friends struggled with, they didn't take physics in high school. So if you can take a physics course, that does help because it gives you a little bit of that background information, because it's completely different science than what you're used to.
I will go off of what Samantha said. The anatomy and phys helps a lot. I know I took OChem in high school, and it's helped so much more get that basic and understanding and information, as well as physics and any upper level math class, so you can test out of those. I would recommend, because that's just a core rec that you just have to take.
All right. What are your average credit hours per semester? How many credit hours are you guys averaging per semester, you think?
I'm taking 17 and a half right now and 18 next semester.
I've taken pretty much 17 to 18 credits every semester.
I'm taking 18 and a half, and I'll be taking 19 next semester.
All right. What classes would be best to take your freshman year? And I'll kind of answer this. Your advisor is going to make sure that you're getting into the courses that you want or that you need your freshman year and throughout college. They will chat with you each semester to go over which classes would be best for you to take. But it looks like we're about out of time for this session. If you guys have any questions at all, please call, text, email myself. My name is Brandon Moore, and you can find me on the directory. Call our admissions office. Thank you so much for joining this session. We will be jumping in about an hour for our Western Equestrian session, and then again at 2:30 for our English Equestrian session. You guys should all have an email right now in your inbox that will have a few items in it. One of those items is a virtual tour of our animal science facility. So please log in and check that out. Also, there is a link to a Google form where you can fill out your t-shirt size and your address. We're going to mail all of you guys a t-shirt and a little something, something. So, you know, make sure you fill out that form. We would love to send you some information. But again, thank you guys for joining us on this virtual visit day. Make sure you get on and schedule a private visit. We really want to chat with you. And if you have any other questions, you know where to find us. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining.